My name is Arthur Pendleton. For 42 years, I worked as a foreman at a printing press. My hands were always stained with ink, but my conscience was clear. Every paycheck, my wife Clara and I would set a little aside. It wasn't for a fancy retirement, it was for our daughter, Emily. We dreamed of buying her a house, a solid start we never had.
Subscribe to Rose of the Heart for more incredible true stories of karma and justice. Clara passed away 5 years ago from cancer. After that savings account became my last connection to her, to our shared dream. It was my sacred duty to protect it. Emily was all I had left. She's a kind soul, a wonderful mother to my grandson, Leo, but she's always had a fragile heart. She sees the best in people, even when it's not there. She met Derek 6 months ago. He was charming, I'll give him that. A smooth talker, drove a flashy car he said was from his import-export business. I smelled trouble from day one, the too firm handshake, the way his eyes darted around the room, calculating. I tried to warn Emily. "Dad, you're just being old-fashioned," she'd say. "He's ambitious, that's all." Leo, even at 15, was quiet around him. He'd just watch, his eyes missing nothing. It was a Tuesday. I went to transfer some money to pay a bill. The login failed. Strange. I called the bank, my heart starting to thud against my ribs. After verifying my identity, the teller's voice turned coldly professional. "Mr. Pendleton, there was a large withdrawal yesterday. The account balance is $187.43. The world tilted. "How large?" $87,500, sir. The entire savings portfolio was liquidated." I couldn't breathe. Clara's face flashed in my mind. Our entire life's work gone. How? I didn't authorize that. "It was a joint account, sir. The secondary account holder and Emily Pendleton authorized the withdrawal in person." I dropped the phone. The room was spinning. Emily, my own daughter. I drove to her house like a man possessed. I found her in the kitchen, her face pale and streaked with tears. She didn't even deny it. "Derek needed it, Dad. It was an investment opportunity, a one-time thing. He said we'd double it in a week. He promised. He's going to pay it all back with interest." "Derek," I whispered, the name like ash in my mouth. She nodded, sobbing. "He said you wouldn't understand. He said we had to act fast." I felt a pain in my chest I thought was a heart attack. It was my heart breaking. I didn't yell. I just looked at my daughter, a stranger in front of me. "That money was for you, for Leo, for your future. It was the last piece of your mother." I turned and walked out, a hollowed-out shell of a man.
The weeks that followed were the darkest of my life. Derek's phone was disconnected. Emily finally went to his apartment. It was empty. The landlord said he'd skipped out on rent. The import-export business was a fiction. The truth crashed down on her. She came to my door, a broken woman, guilt crushing her. I let her in. What else could I do? She was my daughter, but the trust was shattered. We were both just existing in a nightmare. We never talked about it in front of Leo, but he knew. He'd seen the change. He'd seen his mother's red eyes, my defeated posture. He'd retreat to his room, spending hours on his computer. One evening, he came into the living room. I was just staring at the wall, lost. "Granddad?" he said, his voice quieter than usual. "We have to get it back." I sighed, a heavy, weary sound. "It's gone, Leo. It's gone. People like Derek, they vanish. The police say it's a civil matter. There's nothing we can do." "But there is," he said, his jaw set with determination I'd never seen. He didn't just vanish, he's still out there, and he thinks he's won. He thinks we're old and dumb. That's his mistake.
Leo laid out a plan so simple, so audacious, it just might work. It relied on two things: Derek's greed and his ego. Step 1, Leo said, pulling up a fake social media profile he'd already created. We catfish him. The profile was for Alyssa, a young, wealthy heiress, interested in classic cars, Derek's known passion. Leo used photos of a model from Europe, scrubbed of metadata. He was a digital native. This was his world. Step 2, Leo continued. Mom, you have to play your part. You need to call him. Emily looked horrified. I can't. I never want to hear his voice again. You have to, Leo said, not unkindly. You're going to leave him a desperate voicemail. You're going to say you're being sued by the bank because of the withdrawal, that they're freezing all your assets, and that you need his help. You need to sound scared and stupid. It'll feed his ego. He'll think he's completely destroyed you and is in the clear. The plan was set in motion. Emily made the call, her voice trembling with real emotion. Leo sent Alyssa a friend request to Derek's real, hidden profile he'd managed to find. Derek, believing Emily was ruined and seeing a new, wealthy target, took the bait. He responded to Alyssa instantly. For 2 weeks, Leo played him like a fish. He'd have text conversations with Derek while doing his homework, mirroring his language, feigning interest. He learned Derek was in a city 3 hours away, living it up. He'd boast to Alyssa about his big score and his new business ventures. The final piece was the meeting. Leo, as Alyssa, suggested they meet at a high-end restaurant in that city. Derek jumped at the chance. He was going to impress his new mark. This was the dangerous part. We couldn't go alone. I swallowed my pride and went to an old friend, Mike, a retired cop. I told him everything. His face grew grim, then a slow smile spread. Arthur, I'd be honored to help you nail this scumbag. The day of the meeting, we drove down. Mike and another large friend sat at the bar of the restaurant.
Leo, equipped with a small body cam and an earpiece, was positioned at a booth with a view of the entrance. I waited in the car outside, my heart pounding. Right on time, Derek swaggered in, wearing a new suit, probably bought with my money. He looked around for Alyssa. He didn't see Leo. He took a seat at the reserved table, preening. Then, on Leo's signal, Emily walked in. The look on Derek's face was priceless. Confusion, then panic, then sheer terror. He tried to get up, but Mike was already standing behind him, a firm hand on his shoulder. "Sit down, son. The lady would like to talk to you." What followed was a masterpiece of humiliation. Emily, with a strength I didn't know she possessed, stood over him. Her voice was low, cold, and sharp as a knife. "My son set up your little heiress," she said. "Every word you sent her is saved. Every boast about stealing from my dying father, we have it all." Derek started blubbering, making excuses. Baby, it was a misunderstanding. I was gonna pay it back. Where is the money, Derek?" I said, walking up to the table. The sight of me, the man he thought he'd broken, standing there, broke him completely. It's mostly gone," he stammered. "The car, the rent." "Mostly gone?" Leo said, walking over, holding up his phone recording. "How much is left?" Derek, seeing the camera, the men, and the utter ruin of his scheme, cracked. 30,000. I have about 30,000 left. It's in a bag in my car. Please don't call the cops." Mike smiled. "Too late for that. But you can decide how this goes. You can give the money back to this family right now, and they might consider not pressing charges for theft and fraud. Or we can do this the hard way."
We followed him to his flashy car. He opened the trunk, and there it was, a duffel bag full of cash, the remainder of my life's work. He handed it to me, his hands shaking. As I took the weight of it, I didn't feel joy. I felt a grim, deep satisfaction. That's when Emily stepped forward. She looked at the man she had chosen over her own family, the man who had used her, lied to her, and left her to take the fall. The tears she had cried for weeks weren't of sadness now. They were of pure, unfiltered rage and regret. "You looked my father in the eye," she said, her voice trembling but clear. "You sat at my table, you played with my son, and you stole from us. You are a pathetic, small, disgusting man. I hope you think of this moment, of our faces for the rest of your miserable life." Derek didn't say a word. He just cried. Not out of remorse, but out of self-pity. He'd been caught. He was defeated by a retired printer, a heartbroken woman, and a 15-year-old boy with a laptop. We drove home in silence. The $30,000 was in the trunk. It wasn't everything, but it was something. It was justice. The real victory wasn't the money. It was watching my daughter hold her son so tightly that night, thanking him for saving us all. It was the trust slowly, painstakingly beginning to rebuild between her and me. We had faced a monster, not with fists, but with brains and heart. And we had won. Leo, my 15-year-old grandson, the quiet kid who spent too much time on his computer, had become the hero of our story. He didn't just make them cry, he gave us our family back.
Subscribe to Rise of the Heart for more incredible true stories of karma and justice, and motivate us